get a spike, by changing stables and things around. Welcome back, Greg.
Did you actually go and get more toast?
No, I did eat some while I was away, but I had to get the charger because the iPad wasn't going to make it through.
Hello and welcome to the Victoria Cup edition of Burning Questions. It's very exciting. We extended the questions from 4 to 5. I was going to go even bigger with 6 this week, but we've just kept it to 5 because, look, I thought that was the right amount. Andy's sort of just dipping out of screen there for a short time. How are you, Andrew?
Good, thank you, Jason.
You're looking very well. You're looking very casual.
Am I? Thanks for that. But I generally look well, don't I?
Yeah, sure, if you like. Yeah, you normally look tip-top. Gregory, you've got some Vegemite on toast just in case things go a bit long and you need some sustenance throughout the course of the burning questions. And it looks like some really serious, thick, multigrain toast. So good to see you're keeping healthy.
Sure is, mate. Just running a little bit late for breakfast today, but flat out working. So hopefully this is enough to get me through.
Nice clothesline you got behind you too for the silks.
You happy with them?
That's fantastic. It looks like there's like a bust or something of Greg Sugars there with no head. It's quite strange, to be honest. Skeeter, how are you? You've got the, is that one of Moo's scrunchies you got in today, or is that one of your own?
It's not. Well, I actually stole this from my 8-year-old niece, so I might have to hit up Moo and get some of his scrunchies so I don't have to steal them in future.
Greg snuck a bite. You're stealing scrunchies from your niece. I'll tell you what, it's not a very moral or ethical crew today. I'll tell you what, before we get stuck in, we've got to talk about our sponsors. Whether you're celebrating a win or shoveling in the stables, you want your staff to look their very best, just like Greg will look in those silks when I don't know how he even gets up there to take them down. And you do that with uniforms from Hip Pocket Workwear and Safety. They have you covered for clothing, protective equipment, and plenty more. Check out hippocketworkwear.com.au. Burning questions. Let's get stuck into it. The first, we'll go to you first, Greg, while you're masticating in the background there. Is Mufasa Metro's Kiwi form superior to ours, and will he lead the Holmfield, that short course classic for the 3-year-old trotters?
Yes, I think he will lead it. He's got obviously very good acceleration off the gate that he's shown in New Zealand. We haven't seen it here yet, obviously, but I think he's probably quick enough to find the front. I don't believe the form is superior to our trotters here, though. It's a reasonable quality crop of horses in New Zealand, but I don't think there's any standouts really. So no, I don't think the form's superior.
It's always hard to tell, Andrew. The one thing with going through the Kiwi replays is even when they've got gate speed, you rarely know. At least we know with Mufasa Metro that he has got gate speed. I find this group of young trotters, there's no standout. They all, like even yours, Central Otago's trialled amazingly. There seem to be a lot with mercurial, very high-end talent, but whether there's any of ours that can produce that week in, week out, I'm not sure of.
No, it's a pretty even bunch, and Majestuoso Metro, he's had 3 mobiles in New Zealand and he's led in 2 of them. Now only galloped out. So, again, it's a really even bunch of, really nice crop of 3-year-old trotters. We have a huge opinion of Central Otago. He's, I think he's going to have a great future going forward. It's a bit of a draw. He's drawn wide. He has tried going into this race, but I don't think the New Zealand form's a bit of ours. I think it's all pretty even, and it's going to be whoever has the best run in transit is probably going to be winning this race.
Will you be going forward or going back, Andrew?
He'll definitely be going forward.
Okay, that's interesting. Well, him going forward as well, but there's going to be a fair bit of speed inside. What are your thoughts, please, Skeeter?
Yeah, he obviously looks a nice horse. Was second there in the 3-year-old groupie on Jules Day over there. But in saying that, a lot of the horses in the field have raced in our best 2- and 3-year-old trot races. So I don't think his form lines are superior from New Zealand. And as Andy touched on, he's only had the 3 mobile starts. So I don't think he's a guaranteed leader. He does look like he does have plenty of speed, but so do the horses inside and around him. So given that he is only lightly sort of raced from the mobile, I don't think he's a definite leader. And it's a fantastic version of the Holmfield, isn't it? There's so many talented horses, and you could make a case for every single one of them. So outside, obviously, the 4 big Group 1s, I'm really looking forward to that race.
Yes, no doubt it's going to be an absolute cracker. I think he'll probably lead. Will the form stand up? I can't see that it won't stand up. I'm not saying you'll win, but I think you'll be in the mix. Just quickly, Andy, Talking about horses having come over from New Zealand to Australia, I'm even thinking Majestic Cruiser. I'm thinking lots of horses. Have you ever been through an era where horses changing jurisdictions and trainers can change so much? I mean, it's always been the case that they can improve, but it seems like right now you wouldn't recognise certain horses. Greg's gone off to get some more toast.
Yeah, no. Again, I think just a change of environment. You can get a spike in a horse just through the change of environment. And a lot of the horses I get from New Zealand, I tend to buy that have been in the same stable their whole career. So just change of diet, change of routine, change of anything, just sort of, get that spike in improvement. It happens. Horses changing stables continually. So, yeah, it's just one of those things that you can get a spike, by changing stables and things around. Welcome back, Greg.
Did you actually go and get more toast?
No, I did eat some while I was away, but I had to get the charger because the iPad wasn't going to make it through.
I saw you putting something down. I thought it was on the plate, to be honest. I'm thinking to myself, just how hungry is this kid? Yeah, I know you're pretty good on the tooth, but that's actually bordering on concerning. That's Prada Willies type stuff where you haven't got that. You can't tell when your appetite's been sated. Question 2 of the burning questions today. Victoria Cup Week, Vic Derby, Vic Oaks, Bill Collins. And it's brought to you, by the way, question 2, by the Fresh Connection. They export fresh fruit to more than 35 countries, headed up by Damien Glengarry, who's the export manager and does a magnificent job. I love that they put that in there. The Fresh Connection specialise in citrus, table grapes, cherries and mangoes. freshconnection.com.au. Question 2. We'll start with you, please, Skeeter. Will American Dealer find hidden gate speed, or does Zach now find his favourite role in front where he's dominated his last couple of starts?
Yeah, I think Acknow will definitely be the leader, Bond. We've seen American Dealer draw the front row on 4 occasions here in Australia, and each time he's been beaten for early speed, and he's just more so worked forward. So I think, given that we know how quick Acknow is off the gate, Jodie said post-barrier draw, he's one of the fastest horses off the gate that she has driven as Greg takes on a tour. So, yeah, I think Acknow will be the leader.
This is going to be magnificent. It's going to be, you know how Bright Cove, we've got this new software at Harness Racing Victoria where you'll be able to pick which show you want to watch. Sometimes you can just say, like a Netflix setup, you can say, I'll watch replays from this time or I'll watch this interview. A lot of people are just going to be watching Greg here. They just want to focus on what's going on, get a look at the house. It's almost like we're going through back like they did in the old days in the 80s. They take you through the famous people's houses. Greg, now that you've found a nice settling point at Lara J Farm, what are your thoughts here? Like, Anthony Butt is the man who told me once upon a time years ago, all good horses have got gate speed. I feel like they've asked American Dealer whether he's got it, and he said, not really, mate. So I think Acknow is going to find the front pretty comfortably.
Yeah, I got to agree with you there. He's not slow, but he's not, doesn't have the gate speed of a horse like Acknow. Acknow is very, very fast. He's in the high echelon of horses with gate speed. And, we did see probably up in Queensland, that he could sort of hold his own out the gate, but that's about as good as he can do. So yeah, I can't see any scenario where he could hold a horse like Acknow out at the start.
Andy, what are your thoughts here? Are you gonna contradict us here? I just think that it's not like they've just floated him out. They have asked him. Acknow's got very good gate speed. We know drawn right next door that might be a little issue, but I'm still pretty confident Acknow's going to lead.
Yeah, no, he has got terrific gate speed, Acknow. American Dealer, when he trialled at Melton, they did ask him to come out the gate, and obviously they're aware that he hasn't got a lot of gate speed, so they're trying to work on it. In the APG final, Acknow drew barrier 2 and Tasty Delight drew 1, and everyone Tasty Delight had never shown any gate speed until that night and sort of Acknow. So, again, answer will be definitely, I reckon, to get the horse out the gate and try and hold Acknow out, and obviously, to find the pegs in this type of race is gold. So, I think he'll definitely have a crack, but, I probably think it's only about a 10% chance that he might hold it out, but you never know.
Oh, yeah, I did go back and watch that race. Was there an aspect of that maybe they thought Acknow was going to get the lead a little bit easier, and here I just don't think it's going to be like, they're not going to go 80% with Acknow out of the gate either. I think Jodie's going to make sure to try and put it beyond doubt as quickly as possible.
Well, you think so. If you think you can lead, you do lead. So, again, you come out in that first 100 and they're probably going to be aware that American Dealer is going to try its best to hold it. So, but, yeah, on evidence we're seeing, you think Acknow will cross.
Sad situation for me because now I'm declaring Acknow after basically calling him an overrated an overrated sort of powder puff squib most of the time. Now I'm just saying he's the best on the program. Third question, burning questions. Greg has settled in, hopefully. Can Beach Music lead the Oaks outright? And will it even matter if Ladies in Red produces its best? The analogy I made in the form comment was Brian Taylor halfway through the third quarter of the grand final sort of saying, if the Bulldogs kick the next 12, we'll be all right here. We've still got a game on, so people wouldn't turn off. I feel like there's been a bit of hype built around this Oaks, Greg, so we don't just think that Ladies in Red's going to dominate. Is this real? Can Beach Music lead outright? And if she does, can she actually beat Ladies in Red, or is it all a little bit of drama and hyperbole?
Yeah, no, I believe she can definitely win and lead for sure. She's got very, very good gate speed, and she seems to be a great mannered filly that in her most recent starts this campaign, she hasn't been tested off the arm yet, but she showed brilliant acceleration up at Menangle through the Oaks series up there, where it would take a super, super fast horse to even look like heading her off. So, yeah, I think she can definitely lead. And, that New South Wales Oaks in particular was an extremely gallant run by her. There was a ridiculous amount of pressure through the middle stages over the 2,400 metre event. And she went down fighting, and it was only a couple of swoopers that got her late. So I think that, finding the front at Melton, I can't see there's going to be any breakneck sort of speed through the middle. Which Ladies in Red, as good as what she is, she's going to have to be super to overcome the back row draw to chase down a horse like this.
Andy, I've tended to now think at the start I thought maybe Joanna gets across, then you get the handover, but now puppet aboard, Beach Music I think will lead comfortably. I think it actually still leaves Joanna in a good position because she's going to go forward, isn't she, and get the breeze and then wait for Ladies in Red to give her cover. So I think all of the three big guns are going to get their opportunity.
Yeah, half of Beach just went a little bit rough the first sort of 50, and Sal had to grab hold of us. So obviously that's the only concern with her, but when angle from out wide, she should have been really good. So again, the beat Red, you drive to beat her, and the only time she got beat, Kate drove Tough Tilly, and sort of once Red come around, just sort of went flat away and made it really tough for her. So you've got to be prepared to drive to beat Ladies in Red. She's such a great filly. I still think she's the one to beat regardless. I know Beach Music's probably bridged the gap a little bit, and so have Joanna, but it's an incredible filly, Ladies in Red, and I'm still corner.
We might need you to just speak really slowly next time, Andy, because we were missing every second word there. But it felt like it was just when you get up a full head of steam, you can run a 26 quarter on the chat. So just get a little bit of Mick Guerin going. Just
help people stop ringing me. Well,
Ladies in Red. Okay, Skeeter, what are your thoughts here? I'm not sure. I'm still going to stick fat with what I thought earlier, that Ladies in Red's just better than them. But because I think Ladies in Red's one of the best fillies we've ever seen. And if she is, then Beach Music would have to be one of the best fillies we've ever seen to lead her and beat her. So I'm sticking with Ladies in Red, but I'm growing concerned.
Yeah, I'm with Ladies in Red as well, Bon. But I actually thought, I went back and watched a lot of replays, and I agree, Beach Music did show that good gate speed up at Menangle, but I think if Joanna's really set a light at the start, I think she can get across because she'll come out of barrier 5 if the emergency doesn't get a run. I don't think Out of the Blue will be going forward. So I think she can get a really good start and get across. And Joanna's never actually been beaten in front. However, in saying that, she's also never come up against Ladies in Red when she has been in front. So I think Joanna can potentially get across to the top, but I don't think that's game over by any means for Beach Music because we know that Ladies in Red's most likely going to make a move at some point. So she's probably going to get 1-1 cover. And from there, I think any of the three of them can win. But Ladies in Red, she's the benchmark, and I don't think she's done anything to prove otherwise or show that she's gone backwards. The others may have made a little bit of ground on her, but she certainly hasn't gone backwards. So she still is the benchmark, and for mine, the one to beat.
Ooh, a little bit of tension between Nikkita Ross and Greg Sugars. Hawks. Andy, you want to name and shape who's calling you, or do they not know what you do at this time of day? Have you not alerted people in the calendar?
Obviously not. I don't know. They just got a habit of ringing when I'm doing it for some reason.
I know who it might be, but I'm not going to mention it. Right, question 4. is brought to you by Felvo Fruits. They're the specialists in table grapes. Now, we've got Fresh Connection, but these are table grapes people. That's their life is about table grapes, and it's been since the 1960s. Michael and Josie Felvo are keeping that tradition going, and everyone loves their grapes, table grapes in particular. Andy does. Keep an eye out for Felvo Fruits. You know you love them. Greg, did you know prior to all this that there was such a thing as a table grape? I've treated my grapes with, I haven't favoured grapes who goes in the fridge, and like, I haven't left any on the table. Did you know there were table grapes?
No, I was, on the same page as you there. Had no idea. So this has blown my mind.
And you're a smart guy. Like, I thought we were pretty cultured. So if none of it, it's just interesting. Question 4 is, we'll start with you, Gregory. Does Amazing Dream find the top in the feature race? And if yes, will she park the king when he makes his play? Now, you're going to be sitting there quietly watching it all unfold with Triple Eight from inside the second row. But what are your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, look, I'd like to see her in front. And I think it's a very, very realistic a chance of that happening. I think, as I said, my first reaction when the draw came out, that Torrid Saints got the tactical speed to sort of pick and choose what he wants to do at the start. I think he's, quick enough to match it with Max Delight for the first furlong. And, it probably just depends a little bit on how aggressive, those two drivers are going around the first turn as to how it eventually unfolds. But there's got to be some sort of question mark over Max Delight, obviously, with that foot abscess injury, scratched him last week. And, all reports he's missed a little bit of work. But I'm sure David and his team would do everything they can, obviously, to get the horse feeling best they can for this event. But there's still got to be some sort of question mark over him. So for that very reason, if I was Glenn, I would be doing my best to make sure that it didn't get cross and let the mare go. And if that scenario unfolds and she finds the front without doing anything ridiculous, then I think they'd be mad to hand up to King of Swing. It's going to take him too long to get there, for one, and two, if they do hand up to him, they're probably conceding defeat, really. And I don't see why you do that in a race like this. So very realistic opportunity. Chance that she'll get the front and we'll hold it.
Well, you want that to happen as well. So I guess there's a little bit of, I think that will happen and I want it to happen. Your hair's looking very good at the moment, by the way, Greg. That's the best hair. You have got, a bit like me, you've got some difficult hair to work with at times, but that's the best I've ever seen it look. So congratulations on that front. At the end of this question, I just want to talk about the abscess and about what kind of damage that can do to the preparation. I know they say it burst, you're fine and all the rest of it, but I just want to talk about Max Delight. But before that, Andy, your thoughts on Amazing Dream finding the front? Who wins that early war between Torrid Saint and Max Delight? Does Amazing Dream get the top? Does she park King of Swing?
No, I think Torrid Saint can hold Max Delight, in my opinion. And again, has missed a bit of work and going a little bit soft into this race. They probably won't go for too long, I'd say. Amazing Dream, probably its best races is when it is racing down horses. But again, in the 2150 metre race, it did find the top. I'm sure it would hold. By the time it gets there, it'll probably only lap to go, so I'm sure it'll hold it out. So, but yeah, I'm not convinced that we'll find the top Amazing Dream. The lead has to be gifted to it, but if it does happen, I'm sure it'll hold King of Swing out.
Yeah, I tend to think it will. I don't know if it'll work, but I think it's the only play, Skeeter. I think if, as a Candyman said, you hand up to King of Swing mid-race, you hand up the race. I honestly think Ants will just be driving Amazing Dream like it's flashing red. I think it'd just be running and making King of Swing work as hard as possible and saying, look, I reckon we're the two class runners in the race, and if I can run you off your legs, I'll probably win this thing.
Yeah, it will be an interesting start, won't it? And I've got no doubt, I think Puppet will be probably trying to get across Torrid Saint. And one thing I learnt this week doing my research and replays was that Max Delight's only ever handed up once when it's led, which was in that New South Wales Derby to Lochinvar. So it wouldn't completely shock me if they do find the top on Max Delight, if they do want to hold it. And I think if they choose a horse to hand up to, it's only going to be Amazing Dream. And if she's in front, I agree with everyone. I don't think there's any front for King of Swing. You did ask me the question live on air straight after the barrier draw and put me under the pump a little bit. But on reflection, I've had time to think and look at the race. And I don't think there's any front for King of Swing, and he's going to have to earn it. That is for sure.
That's how highly I rate you now, Sked. I'm willing to do those things to you. I thought over the journey I've been incredibly kind and generous, but it's now time to go to the Group 1 race in the big leagues and get those questions the abscess. We'll start with you, Andy. What's like a week out from a major race?
It's not ideal, but obviously they didn't think he was, they wouldn't have him in. So, obviously they wanted to go down last week and they missed it on that run. So, again, it can only be a 24-hour thing, and you're sort of back on track. So, yeah, it all depends on the horse too. I think Max Delight, the athletic horse, he probably need a lot of work in my mind. So, not that I train it, but it's just my opinion from the outside. So, I don't think it will affect him a hell of a lot.
Can it be a tricky thing to manage, Greg, or are we overrating it? Like, as soon as it's done and dusted, maybe it has to have a day off, and then, I mean, he's going to fast work. Akey's going to fast work Max Delight in the pre-game show that we're going to be running before the Victoria Cup. Well, it will be recorded from Thursday, but is it one of those things, you have a day off? Yep, not ideal, but it's not that tricky to manage as long as you get it under control.
Yeah, absolutely. Every case is individual. As you say, horses handle it differently as individuals as well. But it can be one of those things, as Andy said, they can flare up in a day and be gone just as quick. So if that's the case, then he's really not going to take any ill effect at all. But like I said, there is reports that the horse has missed some amount of work, so it may have lingered on, for days. So all that has to be taken into account on every individual circumstance. But Akey obviously knows what he's doing. He'll have the horse right, otherwise it wouldn't be there. I agree with Andy. But it is important to mention, I think, like the horse obviously went into that mile race there a few weeks back where it was a brutal first quarter over the mile, but he still led and was able to win in similar circumstances. And he obviously went into that race, as far as we know, without any cloud over his head. So to think he can burn over 2100 in arguably a better field than what that race was, it's hard to see him winning.
Eating the candy man and going at it again a little bit there, I reckon, Andy. I'll be honest with you. That's how I see it. Before we move on to the Bill Collins, Andy, you've got a couple of runners in the race, and I have to say personally, I think the one that isn't in the race would have been probably the best chance of the three of yours, Tango Tara. Talk to us about how Pacifico Dream and Wolf Stride are going. Wolf Stride just doesn't seem to have come back his best. It feels like he's not 100%. And Pacifico Dream, I'm not going to say too much because Paul Oxton is one of my best friends, but I was slightly shocked to see him get into the field without having a run this campaign.
Yeah, no, Pacifico was probably fortunate to get a run, even through my eyes. I thought Tango Tara in before him, but again, I don't feel obviously agrees as well. So no, it's just again, he's probably up against a little bit fitness wise, not ideal to go into a race like this. First up, he's had a couple of trials. He's had a fair bit of work, but he's just going to be driven for luck. And Wolf Stride, I was sort of happy with his first two trials. I thought he went good at Geelong. Didn't that race, the Caduceus Club that Greg won with Triple Eight. He wasn't as bad as a lot of people thought. He sat in the death and they went really quick time and got checked the last bit, but had a bit of work. He put up a little bit sore after that race, had a little bit of work done on his back and his hocks, and he's just taken a little bit of time to get back to where he should be. But I think he's on the way back up again. Obviously, the barrier draw taken away any winning chance, but I think he'll just go back at the start, be driven cold, and hopefully he can find the line and find a bit of form going forward.
All right, it's interesting. Greg, just quickly, you've given the shake of the head there to Jess. I think not for the first time, I reckon, during burning questions. She's given the Gav shake of the head twice. Is your ringtone all I do is win, 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 no matter what?
Correct.
That's one of the SEN celebration songs. All I do is win, 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 no matter what. That's fantastic. Aren't we learning a little bit? That's what it's about. It's about education, not just with the races either. The final question, burning questions leading up to the Victoria Cup. I'll get Orcs with you now, Andy, just to balance things out a little bit. Have we overrated Majestuoso's gate speed, and will he prove the moral the market says he is? I concur that he's most likely to get across at the start, but there are a couple of things here. I wrote them in the form comment. He hasn't seen the front row draw in a while. He hasn't been asked to blaze off the gate in a while. I'm Ready Jets in a little bit of an American dealer situation. I don't think she's been used that often. Don't get me wrong, Andy. I think you'll win, but is this $1.35 just like we're going to plop him in front and he'll just dominate a little bit overdone?
No, the $1.35 is just ridiculous. So it's really like he's going really good. He hasn't seen the front line much in his whole life. He's spent early part of his life ODM, so that's why. And then he's got up in the ratings and he's always sort of drawn the back row. So I think last time he drew the front row, he drew 7 and always Ready drew him across it. Then Maryborough last year, I think, in the 3-4, two inside Red Hot Tooth and held it quite. So has got really good gate speed. I expect him to lead, but the market's just ludicrous having him so short. I'm ready, Jet, twice this season and has been able to beat her home, and she's a quality mare, and we know Pink Ours just loves being fenced behind the leader, which you expect that where she's going to be. So, yeah, obviously he's the horse to beat, but the odds just don't sort of match up with him at the moment.
We'll find out what Greg's got to say here, and then Skate will say something different. So, Candyman, what are your thoughts here? I think he'll win the race, but like Andy, I thought the $1.35 was crazy. I think he's the best trotter going around, but if things don't turn out perfectly early, geez, I'm ready. Jet's been disrespected by the market, in my opinion, at $12. What did you make of it?
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more with both of you guys there. Going back through Majestuoso form the other day, that I realised, like what Andy said was spot on. He hasn't seen the front row much for his whole career, but when he has, this showed brilliant gate speed. So yeah, there's obviously plenty there when Kate says go. So I think he will find the front. No two ways about that, and probably be the horse to beat. And I do expect him to win. But that price, you just couldn't tip anyone into him at that price. But obviously, he seems a horse that's always had high speed right throughout his career. Was risky early on, but now he's just got stronger as he's got older, and obviously developed his gait. And he's obviously clearly the number one seed in the trotting ranks at the moment.
There's a midday movie going on behind me, and it must be one of those 3D TVs because I keep thinking someone's coming up behind me. Now, it's been a long couple of weeks, sure, but it's not even that close. But I just keep that woman there. It feels like she's right up on my shoulder. Skeeter, what are your thoughts? Are you going different to Candyman just to keep the theme going, or do you agree with us?
No, I completely agree with everything that Greg just said there. I think we've probably underestimated Pink Galah's and I'm Ready Jet's gate speed. Pink Galah's, again, a bit like Majestuoso. Majestuoso last through the front in February this year, and Pink Galah's last through the front in March this year. So has been a while for both of them, and we have to remember as well that Pink Galah's led a Victorian Derby from Barrier 5. So does have gate speed as well. I tend to think, though, that Maddie will ultimately take the sit. We know how quick she is, and she's got that sprint on her. So, yeah, I probably think, and I'm Ready Jet as well, has, I think, developed a bit more gate speed as well as she has gotten older. So, I agree that I think the $1.30 is very, very short. I think he's the horse to beat, and he should find the top, but wouldn't surprise me if he has to do a little bit to get there.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I just think it's a crazy price, but I do think he'll win the race. It's time for best bets now, kids. Strap yourselves in. Double strap yourselves in. Get seatbelts from everywhere. Do crisscross patterns. What are you going to do, Skeeter?
Yeah, I'm going, I'll need a few things to go right, but race number 3, I'm going with His Charlie's Angels. Second row draw over the short, so going to need a little bit to go right, but I just think at this stage he might have the class over his rivals. Looks a really, really nice horse. Was driven back in the heat last time just to get him to settle by David Miles. Did that and looked to win with plenty in hand. So I think he's the horse to beat even from the second row this week.
Yeah, I think Commander Buzz is a pretty nice horse, to be honest, as well. But he's Charlie's Angels. Gregory, before we get into your best bet, you're in 3 of the 4 major races. So, and you said straight after the draw, look, I'm pretty happy with all of those.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's very rare for me, actually, especially with our own runners. Whenever we have horses in feature races, we generally draw terrible. So we're in sort of uncharted waters a little bit, and very happy with the draw on paper at least. So hopefully that means we get some good outcomes at the end of the day.
And quickly with AAA, give us the experience, because you were very cool, calm, and collected the other day on the barrier draw preview. But what is it like? 500 out, and you're still 3 poles. Do you really believe in Group 1 racing? I'll get a run here at some point. Like, I'm not worried about getting totally entombed and trapped from that position, but it's just a matter of picking the right spot when to go. Or is there a fear that you might go over the line bolting?
No, it's very unusual in this sort of level of racing that any runners get held up, really. Generally, the ones that probably, are lucky to be in the races are found wanting, and then the ones that are actually there with winning chances always sort of find a way through. So I believe, the horse, he's in fantastic order. We're really happy with him. So I don't think there's any danger of us not being able to get a run, and just whether it comes at the right time or not, and I make the right decision or not.
I think that gives people confidence to have a bet, I reckon, if they like Triple Eight, which plenty of people do and should. What's your best of the night, please, Candyman?
Well, since it is Victoria Cup week and we've got a runner in it, I'm going to stick with Triple Eight, and maybe that's more hopeful than anything else. But I don't know. But like I say, the horse is in fantastic order, and I'm just really really excited to be a part of it. So as you said, I've got a great haircut at the moment, so the stars are aligning for us. So it's all working out well. So all aboard Triple Eight.
Sounds like you agree. The Bartman. We'll do the Bartman if he wins. I think he's as good a chance as any as well, pretty much. I'll go first because Andrew has to go last because that's where we get the fanfare. That's where we get doers. So I'm going to say Act Now is actually if I had to just pick one that I'd have my life on, I'd say Act Now probably, but there's a couple of others. So What is it crazy odds? And I thought Fiamma should be favourite in that homegrown classic for the 2-year-old filly. So I've got a few, but if the gun's to my head, I'm going Act Now. What are you doing, please, Andrew Patrick Gath?
Well, this is going to hurt me because you've tipped this horse to win as well, but I'm going with So What in the last. I just think it's, incredible odds the way it's going.
It was $7.50 still, but it was $12.
Yeah.
I actually think it'll get across. It's got the speed to get across the others if it wants to. It doesn't have to, but I reckon it's got the speed to get across. You guys can go. Andy and I are just going to have a love in now for it. We rarely get this opportunity. Geez, I feel warm and fuzzy. It's the right time of the week for it. I need a couple of days to feel good about myself before we head into Saturday night. So What the best from Andy Gath. 888 sticking at home for the Lara J. Farm Principal Greg Sugars, and he doesn't have to shake his head. He can nod his head now just and say, "Yeah, I did it. I tipped him on Burning Questions." And Sketty going with He's Charlie's Angel. I'm going with Act Now, but I also really like So What and Fiamma. Well done, all. This is going to be fun. Just quickly, Andy, before we say sayonara, Garrick Knight was on the radio the other day and he's saying he loves Burning Questions. Isn't it amazing? Do you find it amazing the kind of people that turn up to you and say they watch Burning Questions? Like, it shocks you sometimes.
Yeah, the biggest shock I got was last week when I walked in the house and Kate was watching it. She's never watched an episode before, so she was, so I couldn't believe it.
She told us in a post-race interview she wanted to hear what Skeeter and I had to say. Wasn't watching your opinion, Andy. It's time to say goodbye. Hopefully you've really enjoyed it. Massive night Saturday night. Nikkita Ross, myself, Gareth Hall, Danny Malecki, big crew out there to bring you the Trots Vision coverage. But for now, sit back, relax, and find some winners. And that's been Burning Questions for Victoria Cup Week.